Hello guys, it's Tamara here from Create Your Future. I am a psychologist as well as a love assumption coach here. And today guys, I'm back with another success story. Some of you might know the first part of this story. It's about a same client of mine who manifested contact to begin with his SP 20 years after they graduated college. So they had no contact for 20 years. She wanted to test the law of assumption and also get back in touch with this person. So if you're interested in that part of the story, I suggest you watch the first part. I'm going to link this video down below in the description box. So before I tell you what has been happening with my client and his SP since then, I want to remind you guys I'm still running a sale on all sessions done by the end of July, and the code is PREFER20. So if you need some help, if you have any questions, you can book a session. I'm going to leave the link down below as well. So guys, this client of mine, he has had a lot of ups and downs since our first session and since the first success story that I've shared. Mind you, as he identified at the beginning of our first session, he was a novice in all of this. He was at the beginning of his manifestation journey. So he wanted to test out his abilities. He wanted to see everyone is you pushed out in action. So he picked his SP, romantic SP, and he wanted to get back in touch with her. We did that part. He was able to get contact. They were going on dates. And mind you, in the beginning, he was very doubtful when it comes to his aunt. And he kept asking me, like, do I have to, accept the idea that I am married to this person or we are in a serious committed relationship already? And I said no. Of course not. Guys, the end depends entirely upon you. And as you might know, all your desires are generated by your states, by different states you have been occupying. So as you move through different states, your desired end is going to be different, is going to change. So this is absolutely not what messing with the middle is, because he asked me, I heard, if I mess with the middle, then it won't come true. I won't be able to, get in contact with my SP to enter the right state properly. And I said, that's not true. What messing with the middle is actually this urge to micromanage everything, to control the unfolding part, to control the when and the how part. That's messing with the middle. Your desired end can absolutely be anything you want it to be, whether it's communication, whether it's just seeing somebody after 20 years, or dating them, or being married to them. All of those states are different, and they're all valid and available to you guys. So back to my client. I'm not going to go too deep into the first part of the story because I made a video about that and you can watch it. After the events of the first part of the success story, when he got contact and he was able to see his SP and they went on a couple of dates, my client came back for another session. I think it was a month later, a month into his manifestation journey, and he was panicking. I asked, okay, tell me what has been going on, what is happening? And he said, I think I messed everything up, Tamara. Please help, I messed everything up. And I said, okay, what did you do? He said, I was doing so well. I did exactly what you told me to do. I was occupying the state we both agreed on. And then after a couple of weeks, I started doubting my SP situation. I said, okay, was there anything that triggered that? And we came to the conclusion that his SP started texting him later and later. Like there were breaks in communication, right? Or what my client perceived as breaks. Because remember, guys, nothing is happening in the 3D without you perceiving it that way. So what meaning you assign to circumstance is essentially what you're going to be experiencing and how you're going to be experiencing the situation. And as I previously mentioned, your perceptions are coming from your state, your dominant state. So my client was panicking. He was like, does this mean I fell out of my state? How did this happen? I was occupying this state for, weeks. And I said, listen, nobody is in the same state, in one single state, 24/7, guys, nobody. That's not even the point here. We go through different states all the time. In a single day, I could be occupying 10 different states. 10 different states. And guess what? Your 3D is going to reflect most of those states that you have been occupying predominantly. Therefore, I urge you not to see something in the 3D and immediately assign the worst possible meaning, and even worse, kind of relate that to your SP story in my client's case and to his identity when it came to his relationships, and this relationship in particular. So he did that. And of course, when you occupy a state, guys, all of the bad feelings and doubts and fears, they come back. Why? Because they're part of that state. If states generates it all, that means when you tie yourself to a specific state of being, you're going to be experiencing those thoughts and those feelings and those doubts, reactions, actions, etc. They are manifestations in themselves. I hope you can understand what I mean. So, what I told my client was, you did not mess up because you can't. You can't mess this up, guys, and here is why. You have the power of your awareness, and you can choose any state moment by moment. This is a decision-making process. This is not okay, I make a decision today and then again in 20 days. No. This is my 3D is going to show me proof of who I have been being, and my 3D is going to ask me to choose. Do I want to stick with the new identity, with my new state? Do I want to go back to my old states? So what my client did was, when something he perceived as unusual and very negative in 3D happened with his SP, instead of detaching from it and sticking with his identity and just going about his day, he noticed the old identity coming up, and he decided right there and then, this is what is true for me. And he went back to it. And therefore, he started to experience more and more things in the 3D that again reflected his old state of being. So, we got him out of the rut. I was able to calm him down, to explain that he did nothing wrong. And even if he had done something wrong, and therefore 3D is changing in a negative way, so what? So what, guys? You can always decide, okay, right now, I'm being this person. Right now, I'm detaching from my old state. And guess what? Soon after that, your 3D has to reflect that as well. So we were able to get him back on the track. We were able to get him to his usual ways of occupying a state. And before I continue, a lot of people ask me in the comments on my previous video, how to occupy a state. There is no single way to occupy a state, guys. It's very personal, it's individual, it's different for everybody. So what feels natural to me might not be natural to you or to my client. So what we do in our sessions most of the time is getting to know a client, getting to know the person, getting into their state of mind to decide to basically experiment with what is natural to them. So in case of my client, what felt very natural was him talking to somebody, him talking to his best friend. He did this in the first part as well, when manifesting contact with his SP, and I told him, nothing is different. Nothing has changed about your awareness and how you go about this. You just have to be reminded to frequently enter your desired state. And he said, okay. He decided to go back to his state by remembering a conversation with his best friend in which his friend told him how happy he was that my SP and the name of his SP are now together and they're moving in. That was his end. And we discussed his end, right? So in the first part, his end was getting contact, getting back in touch with this person. He was like, I don't know this person well. I remember her. We had some fun time together when we were in our 20s. I don't know this person now. I want to get to know her, and then I will decide what to do about this, if I want to pursue this or not. And I said, fine. That's perfect. That is your choice, guys. And nobody can ever tell you what you can and cannot have and what desire should be. You decide your end, okay? So this time, in our discussion, in our session, he got to the point where he was like, I want to, move things further. I know I like this person. I know she likes me. I want to move in. I actually want to be in a serious relationship with my SP. And I was like, okay, if that's your end, let's go there. Let's occupy this identity. So he used his way of entering a state. He persisted. And the communication issue, guys, started to dissipate soon after that. Why? Because when you imply that you are moving in, you're seriously dating somebody, that implies that you have a stable communication with your person, right? So he went back to his end, communication got better, his SP proposed going on a holiday together for the first time since they started dating and seeing each other. So things are definitely moving in the right direction. And my client and his SP are going on vacation together next week. So guys, the point of this story is there is no failure. You can never fail unless you decide that, okay, I see something I don't like, which means something about me, my identity, and it means I'm a failure. Why would you do this to yourselves? When there is no failure, guys. Even if you occupy an undesirable state and you experience whatever you perceive as negative out there, you can always decide in the next moment, hey, I want to be this person. In fact, I know I am this person. I know this is true for me. And move on from there. And your 3D has to reflect that state as well. The 3D doesn't care, guys. Your awareness doesn't care if you accept something positive or negative for yourselves. It reflects everything. Everything you accept is true. So keep that in mind. Keep persisting. Keep going. Remember, you are no failure because there is no failure when it comes to this process. Okay? I hope you enjoyed this story. I'm going to come back with part 3 of this story because we have been working together for a long time, and this guy has experienced a lot of nice things in his 3D related to his finances, his job, promotion as well. So I'm going to come back with more stories about this client. In the meantime, have a nice summer, guys. Enjoy the rest of the week and see you in the next video.